8:45 is your time, and joining us here on the hotline is State Senator Roger Victory, Republican from Hudsonville, represents us here in Ottawa County. Good morning today. How are you doing?
Good morning. Not doing too bad. Actually enjoying my birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
I'm currently I'm going to do some unofficial district hours at Murphy's Restaurant right here in Allendale. We had, last week we celebrated and honored our veterans, and it seems like such a busy schedule. I haven't been able to get my district hours in here at Murphy's, and there's a World War II veteran. Don said, we haven't seen you for a while. So after the radio interview, I'm going to go in and hopefully Don and some of the other constituents will be here and hearing what they have to say and keeping a pulse what's going on in the Allendale community. We had some district hours in Holland Monday morning and try and get that back on schedule after a very busy and hectic summer and early fall with the legislative agenda.
What time's your one at Murphy's today?
Well, as soon as we get off the air, I'm heading walking right on in, so I'll be here for about a half hour or so.
Okay.
And
Sounds good. State Senator Roger Victory joining us. I got a text message from Jen Van Sciver, spokeswoman for North Ottawa Community Hospital at 8 o'clock, said, can you get me on right away? And I said, sure. So we had her on about a half hour ago. And there's a letter that press release that's going out to Region 6 communities, which we are a part of, that, quote, the healthcare system within Region 6 is at a tipping point right now with COVID-19 cases. Just your thoughts. I mean, a majority of the people who are in the emergency room ICU right now, 85% or more, are people who are unvaccinated. And you're Republican, and you got your shots, I got my shots.
Uh-huh.
What do you think is keeping people from getting their shots that haven't gotten them so far?
Well, sometimes it's just being totally informed. Also, sometimes when you make certain things a mandate or mandate it, you have less participation. In fact, we were discussing that at district hours on Monday, and everyone there had received the COVID shot. A couple of them were saying that if they were forced to do it, they would actually have more resistance a little bit to it. It was kind of like the human nature component, and so they were looking to get their booster shot. So it's an interesting dynamic. Sometimes you just need to sit and listen to the folks and see what drives them, and making sure that they're going to be well informed because COVID is real. I'm looking forward to getting my booster shot here in the near future because as we go into winter season, we're out and about meeting more people, and it's going to keep that immunity level all the higher. It's just good for all.
What was the main talk? What was the main concern from people who you did talk to down in Holland on Monday when you had your office hours at a local coffee shop down there?
Yeah, so one aspect we were talking about masking mandates and COVID shots, and that was kind of a diverse group. But the aspect of is just be informed and allowing the individual make the decision, because there is that pushback when I call the heavy-handed of government. Now, I do believe there's a role of government to making sure that all the information is readily available out there. Just like for myself, I always feel it's important in knowing all the facts and keeping those facts in front. Sound science, so it should be in the forefront. And there's a certain segment of the population that the shot issue maybe has some underlying issues, and that's where you need to have a consultant consulting your personal doctor or your medical provider on that one-on-one basis versus a one-size-fits-all. So there again, I encourage folks out there who are able to get the vaccine, go ahead with it, consult your doctor and your medical provider, and be safe out there.
We had initially, as you always do with any road project out there, I mean, just traffic that was ungodly the first week or so, and we called Susan Shaw over at Wood TV, and I said, you got to come over and do a story. And they did, and I think that woke some people up on that, and I talked to you off the air after our interview that week as well, saying, hey, nobody's talking about turning left at Lincoln, going north on M104. Mm-hmm. They lengthened that light, then a week later, then they lengthened the light at M104 and 231 as well, and I don't know what role you had in that. I know you said you were going to make some calls, but things are seemingly a little bit better because MDOT even put out more road signs south of town saying use 231. So between Wood TV and you, whatever you did, it has helped. So I just want to say thank you publicly.
Well, I appreciate that, and we were even discussing the backups in Holland at district hours because we had two people that came in from Grand Haven. So I was asking them have they seen some improvement? And they were saying yes, and how we can use the 231 and other aspects of it. Because, amazing what discussions will occur at district hours, and there was the backups occurring in Grand Haven over their outreach.
What are some of the things you're working on in Lansing right now?
Well, one main item is have introduced a bill for energy of choice for our major industrial users. We've seen what happened to Ford and their announcement that they're going to put billions of dollars in investments outside the state, especially if, like, Ford builds a battery plant. When the battery plant gets built, there goes the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 suppliers and manufacturer and the assembly plant. Stay with logistics and transportation costs. They're going to be focusing these more on campus formats. And I love agriculture. Michigan has a strong agricultural economy, but I don't want to see that as the number one industry in the state of Michigan. I want to make sure that we retain our industrial prowess, our that intellectual capacity we have, that skill set, and we need to be competitive on our energy costs. And we are outlier in the state of Michigan. We have two monopolies that basically provide a good portion of the power, and the energy of choice for that industrial user, I think, can be a game changer to make sure we secure a strong manufacturing base in the state of Michigan in the next decade and decades going forward.
State Senator Roger Victory, Republican from Hudsonville, represents us here in Ottawa County on. Governor Whitmer signed a new law that is saving Michiganders over half, in some cases, on personal injury protection, medical portion of their car insurance policy with lower premiums and all. But I saw a story on Fox TV not too long ago here locally about a family that somebody was just driving down the road. They got in a horrible car accident. They're paralyzed. They have to have nurses 7 days a week taking care of them and everything. They were like, that's all gone. I don't know how we're going to pay for this. I mean, what about people like that? I mean, to me, that's more concerning than saving a few bucks on my insurance.
Well, there are two sides. So there's money in there for those who have had those accidents and those overall costs. Also, it's very important, as you now have insurance choice, making sure that you elect proper coverage that meets your financial needs. So be aware that you do have the options for this higher level of coverage, but you also have options for lower level coverage. So there's consumer choice, and with consumer choice, there's responsibility too. But those who, now one area we do with the unintended consequences of the auto no-fault reforms, when we passed that legislation, we didn't ever perceive the increase of labor costs. We have, I would call, super inflation on our labor costs, even here in West Michigan. So the cost of providing those services has escalated a lot quicker than what we anticipated when they were actually doing the actuary charts and setting these baselines for compensation for those who provide the health care. So that is something that we're going to be needing to take a look at it. But overall, we now have choice, and with that choice is responsibility, and with that choice, we have that fund that's out there to reimburse the actuary charts of their surplus money into that, and that could be utilized back to the ratepayers.
Okay, last week, and this story was buried about halfway down on all major TV and newspaper websites, and I didn't understand why it was buried, one, but two, why people didn't make more noise about it. Attorney General Dana Nessel was at the tailgate party for Michigan State, got inside the stadium, apparently had one too many Bloody Marys, and she's posting all this like anybody would have even known, really, if she hadn't done this on her Facebook page and everything, and was kind of making light of it and everything. It was kind of buried in all the news stories everywhere, and I was just curious what the talk is in Lansing at the state capitol about your top law enforcement agency director and what happened at Michigan Stadium with her.
Yeah, there is a certain level of responsibility. I had an opportunity to attend that game, and there was a huge crowd. And you've got to make sure that the excitement and the festivities of the game does not overtake your public image. And she is the chief top law enforcement agent in the state of Michigan. And with that, there's responsibility, just like our sheriff is the chief law enforcement official here in Ottawa County. And with that, that you have your personal life, but even if your personal life is out there in the public setting, there are those responsibilities and decorum that needs to be taken place. And that apparently she was not living up to her role, and the public image is being a role model as Attorney General. And thus, it's problematic when you see those photos. That should not be occurring.
Where is Governor Whitmer at? We have not seen or heard from her forever, and I was just like, I'm just curious because seriously, it's almost like she's gone underground. I have not. She used to be on every TV show in America, and now it's like months, and I have not seen her. Where has she been?
Well, 2 weeks ago, she was harvesting sugar beets in the thumb. So she was in a sugar beet harvester with the farmers with the Michigan Sugar Association. So I did see that on social media. She did not ask to come and ride the combine at Victory Farms, but I guess there's always an open invitation. But, so she was harvesting sugar beets, and I know she was out there in Virginia helping a failed governor candidacy while we had a water crisis going on in Benton Harbor. So the folks in Benton Harbor was wondering why, they were having a lot of local folks helping them out with the water issues, addressing it, but yet the governor was somewhere out of state at that point in time. So I can't totally speak for her, but it is a good point.
Okay. Well, hey, again, happy birthday going out to you. Hope you have a great day and be safe out there, and we'll talk to you the day before Thanksgiving next week, okay?
Looking forward to it. Have a great day.
Senator, thank you very much. State Senator Roger Victor is good enough to join us on Wednesday mornings at around 8:45.